Welcome back to another great episode of Comedians in Bed. And as always, I have another great guest here for you, man. She's been killing the stage here in Columbus and all over the Midwest. And I'm so glad we got her here today. She took a break from being one of the best moms in Ohio to come stop on our little raggedy show here today. So we're so thrilled and excited about that, man. One of the funniest persons here in Columbus, man. She's been killing the stage. I know you guys are gonna like her and love her really a lot. Please, everybody, give it up for Nickey Winkelman, everybody.
Thank you, Ty. Oh, that was such a nice intro. Thank you.
What's going on, Nickey? How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. I just finished dinner with my kid and then raced up here and now I'm talking to you.
Man, listen, I wanted to. I've never. This is by far the most we're ever going to talk. Probably. I've never told you because, I mean, I am a young comic, so I just try to stay out the way and just keep my mouth shut and just keep my eyes open, my ears open too, to just try to see what's going on. But one of you really inspire me because you're a mom and you're doing comedy. Like that is so freaking dope because I don't know how you do it. So that's so dope. So I just want to say we got Superwoman on our show here today, and I'm so excited about it.
Oh my God, thank you. Yeah, it is hard. I don't always feel like Superwoman. Sometimes I feel like I'm not doing a good job at either thing.
That's how usually superhumans feel. Like they feel like I'm not doing enough.
Yep.
It is like you risk your life for strangers.
Multitasking where you're like, am I doing any of these things well?
Right, man. Yeah. Right. That's crazy, man. Yeah, because I'll be thinking man, any parent that do it, man, it's crazy. You're at a level now that you don't have to go to open mics every night. So that's a little different. But just still chasing your dreams and being a parent, I feel like is very difficult. Just for some fact, because my mom didn't do the same. So any parent that do it, I'll be commend you because I know that be playing on your heart. Am I doing enough? Am I a good parent?
It does for sure. There are times when I'm at shows and I feel like I'm missing stuff with my kid. I had a show in Cincinnati the same night that his preschool had graduation. And it was I'd already booked the show when the preschool told us about it. So it was there's nothing I could do. But, it's those things that sometimes you just miss out on. But also, preschool graduation's not a real thing, right?
Right. You got to give yourself that pep talk. He's not even going to remember that I'm not. He'll probably ask where I was at in the picture. I'll be like, I was taking the picture. So, that's it. Yeah, man, that's dope.
They call it preschool, but it's it's daycare, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they learn stuff. They learn stuff, but he's there all day. And then even though he graduated, he's still there until he starts kindergarten. So
yeah, man. That stuff is crazy, man. Yeah. I'm not I play whenever I do have kids, I'm these little suckers is not every time, but I'm gonna make them come to the club with me. They just gonna have to sit in the back, have some headphones and a little iPad to play with. Cause that's crazy.
You want to have kids?
Yeah, I want to have kids. I don't know when that's gonna happen. I'm 32. I'm 32 without no kid. It's a good thing, but then again, I'm starting to feel dang, am I ever gonna have kids? But I'm taking all these minutes, days, and years without them. I'm gonna enjoy it as long as I can, because that's a whole adjustment.
For sure. I was 33 when I had my son. It's a little different for women, because you got to make them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my kid's father was almost 40. We got him into fatherhood right before he turned 40. So he was 6 months away from turning 40. So yeah.
My experience has been the longer you wait, the more women question you. So are you planning on having any kids, or is there something you want to tell us? That's. And it's dang, dog. I can't just have no kids. It's crazy.
I mean, people have them at all ages, I mean, some people have them young. There are times that I wish that I had him younger, just because I'm tired. I'm gonna be 40 next year. So like, and he's 5, so I got a long way to go. But yeah. But
Nickey, you do not look 40. You do not look like you about to be 40 at all.
thank you. I've on a lot of makeup. But yeah, I appreciate that. People ask me all the time like how I stay looking young, and then they don't like the answer because I don't smoke cigarettes, I don't drink alcohol, and I don't drink coffee. That's the one where people get really mad.
That's a good combination.
Yeah.
That's a really good combination. Yeah, because I'm a vegetarian.
That helps.
Yeah, that helps a little bit. I still eat cheese, so I can't get rid of the cheese. I know it's bad, but cheese got a hold on me, man. It's like cheese is my kryptonite. I just like the thought of me not eating mac and cheese is wild to me. Like that's just...
I don't think I could do it. I think I could give up meat, but I don't think I could give up cheese. I think I eat cheese every single day.
Okay, so do you put cheese in things, or you just taking a slice of cheese and eating it? Like
both. Sometimes I'll just take a slice of cheese out of the refrigerator and just eat it. Especially if it's like late night snack and I don't want because I had to get away from eating sweets at night because it'll keep me up too late. Like if I eat sugar at night, I just like I'm stay up too late. So but now like if I get a little hungry and I want just a snack, I'll just like take a slice of cheese.
That's funny because like if you eat a slice of cheese, it's like it's weird, but if you get a cheese stick, it's not weird, but it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. That's so true. I never thought about that.
Hold on, I'm about to write that down. That's a good joke. Cheese.
That is a good joke. You gotta write that down.
Versus just a slice of cheese, and that, folks, is how you come up with jokes. Slice of cheese.
How long have you been doing comedy?
I only been doing comedy for 3.5 years. It'll be 4 in the fall. So, but yeah, that's how I come up with jokes. I'll just like if I'm talking to somebody, that's why I like talking to people. Contrary to belief, like I know what I'm talking about, but like if I fuck with you, like I like talking to people because like I'll come up with some good shit, or just like I'll just be thinking randomly and just be like, oh, that sounds nice. But yeah, like 3.5 years in, and I'm learning a lot. That's why like I think it was recording. I told you like I don't really like to talk and stuff where I be at mics because I be trying to learn.
Yeah,
so much. It's so much to learn, and just getting in the clubs and stuff. So I'll be like, all right, let me just be on good behavior and just make sure I go up there when they say my name, get off, don't run the light, and do the best that I can. So that's been my
all
focus.
of that goes such a long way. I mean, I remember when I first started, I certainly wasn't the pinnacle of professionalism when I first started either. I mean, it was just like I was young, you know. I started first time I went on stage, I was 19, but I started here in Columbus 17 years ago. So, yeah. And, you know, I think I went long on like my first set at the Funny Bone. Like I ran the light. And then I remember somebody telling me afterward, they're like, you can't do that. And I was like, it's not that big a deal, is it? And they're like, it's a big deal. So I had a lot to learn when I first started. So I try to be mindful of that with new comics too, to just like kind of gently give them the information. Cause some people just truly don't know. They show up, they're like, I wrote jokes and they don't really know the rules. But it's all about like, I think learning those rules, and you can tell the people who are serious about it and the people who aren't. And like, I can tell that you're serious about it because I see that you're there to like learn and pick things up. And that's always good. I like seeing that. And
I'll be trying to come to the weekend shows, but like it'd be mixed messages. It'd be like, it's free if it's not sold out. And then it'd be like, yeah, we're not sold out, but it's not free. So I'll be like, well, because I live downtown. It's not like it's around the corner. Gas is high. So I'll be like, listen, unless I get a definite answer on what it is, like I would be there more, but yeah. But so when did you where did you started doing comedy? You're not from Columbus, are you?
So I am from Columbus. I grew up in Westerville. I went to Westerville South High School. And then when I graduated, I went to University of California, Santa Barbara for college. So I wanted to go into acting. So I got into their acting BFA program, and then I got into drugs, and so then I dropped out and came back home. I mean, sometimes that happens. So
What
yeah,
drug?
I know it's really surprising. A lot of people are very surprised about that. Yeah, I did not leave school with a lot of friends. I, yeah, and it wasn't a very long amount of time because I was only out there. I was out there 3.5 years. I was very
Okay.
close to being done with school, but I also was not close to being done with school because I was doing drugs. But I partied a lot, and then kind of hit rock bottom. More than kind of. I mean, I hit rock bottom and had to come home and got clean, got sober. Um, I've had, kind of a on again, off again relationship with alcohol since then, but I've been clean from drugs since I came home. So, yeah. So, so that's all been good, but that's why I came back from
Are we
California.
talking hard drugs or little drugs? What kind of
I
drugs?
mean, I don't know. A little bit of both.
Okay. I mean, hey, living. Hey,
Yeah.
growing up, I thought drugs was bad, but when you live in America, you need drugs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about, I mean, life's all about balance and moderation, and, finding what works for you. Plenty of people can like smoke weed and feel good about it. If I smoke weed, I get like super paranoid. Heart racing,
Really?
can't sleep. I don't like it. And I swear to God, every person I tell this to who likes smoking weed, they're like, well, you just haven't smoked weed with me.
I wasn't.
They're
I
like, you
wasn't
just
going.
haven't on the right thing.
I wasn't gonna say that. That sounded a little creepy. I wasn't gonna say.
I mean, I guess it is a little bit creepy, but
Stay
they're just like, well, you
off
haven't
the
found the right weed.
weed.
Yeah, man. Well, I was gonna say like you do gotta try the right read, the
Yeah.
right read, weed. That
Mhm.
is true. Cause so my drug dealer is I'm not gonna tell his business, but I make sure I ask what kind of weed this is, and I look it up. This is a famous website I go to every time, leafy.com, and it lets me know what I'm getting myself into. But believe it or not, every time I go on stage, I'm pretty much high.
Really?
Yeah, I'm high every time. I don't,
Huh.
so I can't smoke a whole blunt because then I'm a bomb. But like I
Right.
just take like 3 to 5 hits and then I'm good. Just really I just use it really just to calm my anxiety down because I've had too many panic attacks on stage, and
Yeah.
it's real awkward when nobody knows that you're having a panic attack and you're like panicking. It's just so yeah. I take and then I
Yeah.
take it and then I hit it like about an hour before the mic starts. So then by the time I go up, whenever it is, I'm barely high anymore. So yeah, I do that. But like getting full blown high, nah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I remember like, so I've had there, so when I say that I've been clean from drugs, so like the drugs that I got real bad into were but like opiates.
Oh,
So like I don't I like painkillers and stuff like that.
yeah,
So I don't I stay away from that. Um but and then I also did cocaine. So
yeah.
I stay
Okay.
away. But I have tried weed a little bit like since just to see like if it'll work for me, and it just doesn't. And I remember the most recent time was like I was somewhere and I said, I don't drink alcohol, so I said to the bartender, I was like, what do you have that doesn't have alcohol in it? And she sold me a drink that had Delta 9 in it.
Oh
And she
god.
told me that it had Delta 9 in it, but I didn't know what that was.
Yeah,
And so I
yeah.
was just like trying to be cool, like, sure, whatever, Delta 9. I started drinking it, and I was with my friend Adrian Cosby. And
Hmm.
Adrian saw that I was drinking that, and he goes, you know that's what that is, right? And it was kind of too late. Like I'd already started drinking it, and I was like trying to pass up, like, I'll be fine, whatever. And we were watching a show, and then the show ended, and I was like, I feel fine, so I'm gonna go home. And I went home, and I was like getting ready for bed, and I'm just like brushing my teeth, and I'm just like, man, I feel like I've been brushing my teeth for a while. And I was like, how long have I been in here brushing my teeth? And then I
Yeah.
was like, oh shit, I'm high. And then
Yeah,
it took me like
man.
a good hour to like get ready for bed because it's just like I was like, oh yeah, I definitely got stoned from that. But it didn't necessarily feel bad, but it didn't feel good. I was like, I don't feel good.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean because I messed around because I looked at my schedule today. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I had to work and then I had like 30 minutes off and then I had go to my counselor at 3 and I got high like at close to 11. And then by the time I got off work, I was like, bro, I messed around and got too high. I think I don't know. And then I was closing my eyes. The next thing I know, it was 3:30. I'm like, God dang, she gonna be so mad. I missed this session. Yeah, so like I've done other drugs too. I've done ecstasy. Well, the kids call it Molly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know I was listening to that rap and I was like, I guess I'll do it too. And the person that I was dating somebody at the time, and I made her take it first, and then I waited, and she looked normal, so I was like, all right, I'll take it. And that's the and that is the extent of it because you know what, that Molly, we did it wrong. Like we did it at 11 o'clock at night, which was purely dumb. And I was up all night. We were up all night.
Yeah.
And then the next day I was up all night. And I was like, I don't want to be this high. I don't need to be this high anymore. And that was it. I've never done cocaine. I think because my nose is just too big to be doing cocaine. I don't know how to explain that. My brother has done cocaine. My sister has done cocaine. Uh, she didn't make it. The streets took her. She gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I knew she was gonna die when like one of the last few times I seen her and she was walking around with no front teeth. I was like, "Yep, that's it. That's gone right there."
Oh, that's so sad. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, I appreciate it. Yeah, I feel like that's what I'm working on right now. I'm working on trying to get like 30 minutes so I can do an album and name it after her. That's what I want to do. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, she was a full blown crackhead, man. I ain't really know until I went to counseling. My counselor was like, is she? She sounded like she got addict behavior, and I was like, "Oh crap! I've been living with a crackhead for this long and didn't even realize." But I commend you on
Yeah.
like kicking the drug habit and stuff like that because them pills is really they really are addictive, and
Yeah.
that'd be my biggest fear is like going to the hospital and they try to give me some pills. I'm like, nah, I don't mess with that. That's partly why I do weed for like my
Yeah.
depression, my anxiety, because I don't want to get with the pills. So I
And
commend
then
you for
weed's not like physically addictive either. So
that.
which
Yeah.
is nice. Yeah. I mean,
I
anything can be mentally addictive,
I
but
think the habit of putting something to your lip, pause,
yeah.
is what makes it addictive more than anything for real. But when I
Yeah.
move, or like if Ohio gets weed legal, then I'm gonna go ahead and just do edibles and stop smoking. That's my
Yeah.
plan. Yeah, yeah. So, all right. So what made you? Okay, so when you came back from Santa Barbara,
Mhm.
what made you pick up comedy and was like, all right, I'm gonna do this, and what's making you still pursue it?
So I started when I was in California. I did my first like show when I was out there, and it was an open stage night. It wasn't an open mic night, so it was a bunch of different acts. So it was like poetry reading and like you know acoustic guitar, like everything. There was an improv group at the end, but there weren't any other stand-ups. So they loved me, and I thought
Yeah.
I was like amazing at it. And then I did an open mic night, and that was like a a reality check because I was like, oh, now I'm with a bunch of other comedians, not the only
Yeah.
person trying to make people laugh. But yeah, so then when I, got had to come home and I wanted to keep doing something. And I knew I wasn't gonna really be able to keep acting, or wasn't gonna be able to go back to school at least for a while. So I was like, I want to keep doing stand up. So I remember just like reaching out to I just remember going on the Funny Bone website and they were starting their contest. And like Rick Tempesta's email address was on the website. And so I like emailed him, like, hey, are there any spots for the contest? And it was full. And then I was like, well, that's okay. I'll go see the first one. And then when I was there, he said, hey, we had somebody drop out for next week. So can you come next week? So I came and I got a spot and I made it to the finals and then I just kept doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I think
And it's funny, like now I was kind of just like a couple of years ago talking to Kenny Mock about that story. And he was like, yeah, he goes, my first time at the Funny Bone was a contest too. He's like, that was my first, basically both of our first time was in a contest. And he was like, which contest was it? And I was like, Alex Stone won it. And he goes, that was my first year. So we both started at the exact same time.
Oh, that's what's up, man.
So,
yeah. I I was in, as you know, funniest person contest this year, and I didn't realize how many like new people had like made it to the finals. Like Jesse's session has only been doing it for a couple months.
Yeah.
Josh O's only been doing it for like less than a year. I think his year might be coming up. So I was like, dang, like we got some good heat. How did you feel about the contest? Like when you first started, like what's the progression from like when you first started and you was in it to where it's at now? And how did you feel that this year's contest went?
So when I first started, I didn't really know much about how it was run or anything. And then, through the years from doing it, you kind of, you start seeing what's going on and seeing who's in charge and stuff like that. And this was like the very first contest that, was the first one in a while at the Funny Bone. And it's the first one that Kenny and Henry had run. And I was really just helping out. It was really their baby. But there were a lot of learning experiences. In particular, the semifinals that you were in, there were some mistakes that were made. There were some mistakes that were made in choosing our judges. We needed to diversify our judges because whether people want to believe it or not, you watch comedy with the experience of your life behind you and who you are and how you grew up and what you think is funny. And if you're a white person, you're probably more likely to connect with white comedians. I don't like that that's the case, but that's just reality, I enjoyed a lot of the comics that night. It was really tough to score that night because everybody was really good.
Yeah.
I tried to score everybody as honest as possible. And honestly, I think a lot of, maybe for me, for my scores, they were maybe not different enough. Everybody did well. So
no, that night was
that
night was
we
very,
totaled
very
everything
tough.
up, we were in a rush because the show was running long. So we totaled everything up. We took the top scores. We didn't really look at it. And everybody who went through was white. And that was a mistake. It shouldn't have been that way. So there wasn't really much that we could do about it at that point. We'd already given the list to the judge. We didn't realize it. And it was bad. It was a bad look for the contest. It was a bad look for us. We didn't really know, kind of what to do about it other than try to do better moving forward. So we made sure that our judges for the next rounds were more diverse, and we were more thoughtful when we were totaling things up to make sure that things weren't uneven or that there weren't, anybody with like personal biases. I mean, we don't have that anyway in the judges. We make sure that our judges are scoring based on the set, not based on whether or not we know the person. And that's hard sometimes too, though, because then like the next round of semifinals, there were people that I normally really love that just like didn't have a good set. And I was so sad because I was like, I got to score it on this set. Even though I really think this person should go through.
Yeah. I thought my semifinal night was very difficult. I didn't look at it the way you just described it, but it was very difficult. And then when I went to the other final night, I didn't feel bad at all because I'm like, even this night was harder than my night. So I was just like, was that my first? It wasn't my first competition, but I was just thrilled that I made it at least to the semis. I as a contestant, I felt like it was good. It was just different because the only competition I had to compare it to was Funniest Person in Cincinnati last year, and they make people like have a piece of paper and vote like in the audience. So that was the only difference. So I didn't really know how like it was going to be done, but even that was weird because like we had the clap off at the end, which was cool, but then like people were coming up to me and they were like, "Did you make it?" And I'm like, No, I didn't make it. Like, my name. I know you just met me today, but my name's Ty. Did they say Ty? Like, and then it was like, well, it was like, well, we voted for you, and I was like, okay, like, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, there's nothing I can do. Like, I mean, I appreciate it, but
Yeah.
like, so yeah, but I actually enjoyed it. I had fun. I felt like I had a good tape, and I felt like I was like, long as my set was good, that's all I really like cared about. So I had fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. Yeah.
It's also tough what spot you go in. Like, I don't think I've ever seen somebody go up first in the finals and win.
Yes.
That first spot is so hard.
Me and Tony Cruz did the fireworks competition at Dayton, and I think he was supposed to go towards the bottom, but he got there late, so she made him go first, and he placed, and I was like, dog, that's huge, and I really thought he should have got second. No shade to the person that got second, but nah, Tony should have got second. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, now I get what you mean. So
Yeah.
one of the things I noticed about judging when it comes to competitions is stage presence. So what exactly is stage presence? Because when I think of stage presence, I think of like probably like being charismatic, probably like having like expressions on your face, but like sometimes people aren't like that. So when you guys think of stage presence, like what exactly does that mean?
For me, I look for somebody whose energy fits their material. So you can have energy and be still in like theater, and particularly in like music performances. They call it stand and deliver, where like you can have a lot of power and be still. It just has to fit what you're doing. But if sometimes people who just like are slumped or maybe fidgeting, or they just don't have a lot of like energy in their body, even if they're still, you got to have that kind of that energy, that confidence. um yeah, because we kind of lump stage presence and performance into the same thing. So if the writing is good but maybe the timing is off, that'll affect the performance aspect of it. Because sometimes I'm like, watch a comedy clip, I'm like, oh, that's such a good joke, but the audience isn't giving them what I feel like the joke deserves.
Mm-hmm.
Then sometimes really what that comes down to is like delivery or energy or stage presence, more so than. I try really hard not to blame the audience. It's hard because sometimes the audience just sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
When we did the finals for the fireworks, that audience was I mean, I felt like if you were polished, they gave you what you wanted, but it wasn't too many polish. It wasn't too
Mm-mm.
many. So it was like it was up and down like all night. And it was just like, all right, I'm gonna give it a go. Like, just give it a go.
I did a contest back in 2007 at the Circleville Pumpkin Show.
Wow.
And it was at this bar that was like, I mean, it was like kind of ambush comedy, in that like half the people there I don't think knew there was going to be a comedy contest. But the sound system was bad. If you And it wasn't just that it wasn't loud enough, but that the microphone wasn't very clear. So anybody who went up and either wasn't loud enough or was mumbling and the audience couldn't hear or understand them, they just gave up and started talking.
Yeah.
And I was watching this happen, and I was watching people go up and the audience like trying to pay attention to them. And then if they couldn't hear it, they would just give up. So I was like, okay, when I go up there, I have to be loud, I have to speak slowly, and I have to speak clearly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really didn't necessarily perform my material the same way that I normally do, but I won the contest.
Yeah. I've started to notice that with the mics, more so open mics. I mean, comedy clubs usually got their mics right. Sometimes it'd be a little off, but I'm really starting to notice like, okay, this isn't loud enough. My monitors in the front aren't working. Like I'm really starting to notice that a little bit more. So but then when you only got 5 minutes, you can't really be like, hey, fix my fix this.
Right.
You're like one of the you're not the only one, but I'll just say for Columbus, because I don't really pay attention to other scenes. Cincinnati has a lot. I don't really know about Cleveland, but you're one of the only ones that does well, you're one of the few that does comedy as a woman here in Columbus, Ohio. And you're one of the most busiest ones. So how do you feel the state of comedy is for women going forward in Columbus, Ohio? Because I feel like you guys
Yeah.
are getting I feel like there's a there's some that I see every day, like on the open mic scene, and there's some that just kind of like randomly pop out and they're funny. And I'll be like, dang, I wish you would do like more. Um, but I just feel like it's still a little bit behind and we need more representation. So like, how do you feel about the state of comedy for women in Ohio?
That's so interesting because like when I started, I was like the only one.
Mm-hmm.
I think on that contest there might have been one other woman that was on the entire contest, and she was an older woman. I don't remember her name. I don't think I've seen her since. But Patsy B started not long after I did. I think Leslie Battle probably started maybe 4 or 5 years after I did. And then we started seeing a lot more women.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there were other like women, like you said, that I would see every now and then, but not like out all the time.
Yeah.
And so for me, seeing the scene now, I'm like, oh, there's so many women.
Right.
But I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, it's still mostly a man's world when it
Yeah.
comes to comedy. And that may just be the nature of it as well. Although when I look at, comedians that are pop or comedians that I follow on Instagram, there's certainly a lot more women now than there used to be. As far as in Columbus, it's just different. Everything's different since. I mean, I know we weren't going to get too deep, but everything's different since the Me Too movement.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot more safer spaces for women, which is good. Things kind of swung hard the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Used to be like super not safe, and then it's like swung real hard the other way. And now we're kind of finding a balance in the middle to where I think, you know, I think there's like this is gonna sound bad, but I think like a lot of people got like unnecessarily canceled.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that deserve to be canceled, don't get me wrong, but there were also people that it was just like, especially locally, where it was like, oh well, this person worked with this person that worked with this person that worked with this person, so you can't book them. It's like, okay, well, where's the line?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's getting back into the middle, and so now it feels a little bit more comfortable, but I think it's still hard for women to feel safe anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And because there have been problematic men in comedy, it makes it sometimes hard. And especially if, those comics go back out on tour,
Mm-hmm.
which happens, then women think, oh, is this a safe profession for me to go into? Because I heard Bill Cosby was going to be back.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
feel
not
like
going to lie, I'd go see Bill Cosby.
yeah.
Don't cancel me for that. But I would go see. I'm not gonna have drinks with him, but I'll see him.
You done lost
He's
your
a
damn
legend.
mind. When you lose your damn mind, you
I don't
call
think he
me.
should be allowed in public, but I do want to see him.
I have 4 sisters, so I know how to charm a woman. I know how to get on their nerves, or how to be their best friend or their worst enemy. But what got me into comedy was really my mom. Like she's like freaking hilarious. I think she's probably funnier than me. And one day I just asked her, like, I never really thought to ask my mom what did she want to be when she grew up, and she told me that she wanted to be a comic, and I was like, okay. And ever since I've been in the game, I just really been trying to make women feel as safe as possible, even if I don't get along with them or if I don't think they're funny. Like I just try to, no matter what, to try to make them feel safe. So, in what ways can us men make you women feel safe doing the thing that you love the most, which is comedy?
Oh wow! I mean, yeah, I think just treating us like you would treat anybody. Yeah. Oh gosh, that's tough. What can we do to feel safe? I guess, yeah. Look out for us and keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, I see the men that treat treat me anyway like just another comic, and then there are men that look at me like, like
Yeah.
how men look at women, which is, I mean, I don't know, it's tough. Oh, that's such a good question. I don't feel like I have a good answer. I hear people say all the time about kids, they're like, having girls is tough. And I don't deny that having girls is tough. But I feel like that for me, there's a larger responsibility for me as a mother of a boy to it's the boy moms that have the responsibility to change the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because we have to teach them how to have a safer society for women, and I really I'll let him do anything that he wants to do, whether it's for a boy or for a girl. His favorite color is purple. He loves rainbows. He also loves trucks and cars, and I'm like, whatever you like is fine. um and I also tell him to treat all of his friends the same, regardless of whether or not they're boys or girls. And we're also really big on consent in our house, to like, if I want to give him a hug, I ask him, can I give you a hug? Anytime I'm going to touch him or he didn't touch me, there's a verbal exchange there, because I feel like those are the things that you instill naturally. It's the creepy uncle you had who was like, come here and give me a kiss, and you're like, no, I don't want you, and they're like, I'm gonna make you. That's like we can't do that anymore, especially I mean, you can't do that to little girls, but I don't think you can do that to little boys either, because then that teaches them that it's okay.
And to piggyback on that, that's what I was gonna say. Like, keep your kids away from the creepy uncle. Don't let them spend the night over there. Because they tell you things and you be like, I shouldn't know what the color. I shouldn't know what that is at 7.
Yeah.
What
I
is?
also just try to keep an open dialogue with him too. I'm like, there's nothing you can't talk to me about. And I've also been like very clear with like, my my mom and my mother-in-law, that like they don't have secrets with my kid. Like, because we have rules for like the grandparents, like, okay, don't, let him watch too much TV or whatever. And if they let him watch too much TV, I don't want them saying to him, like, just don't tell your mom, because like I want him to know he can tell me anything. And I definitely don't want him to believe that keeping a secret with an adult from his parents is a good thing. So I told them, I was like, if you break the rules, you break the rules, but don't ever tell him to keep a secret from me. So I think those two things are kind of the most important in terms of raising a young man to have a better place for women. It's like, okay, make sure that like consent and respect, and then also like tell me anything. Yeah. I always want him to be able to communicate with me.
Yeah, I never thought about that. Not keeping secrets within the family. That's smart. So now that you are blazing the stage, you're doing your thing, you're hosting, you're at the Funny Bone like every weekend pretty much. What is like the next level? Because I'm noticing like you get in the game, you do open mics, then you're doing open mics, people see you enough, they might book you for a show, then you start building that repertoire up, you get good tape, might do festivals, or you might go into hosting, and then you go hosting the feature. Like what's the next level for you? Like what is that, and how do you get there? I guess.
How do I get there? Yeah. So there's all kinds of different paths in comedy. And it's so funny that I'm in the place that I am with my success right now, because I stopped trying to make it my only career. I think for a lot of comics, like the idea of like making it is quitting your day job. And I don't want to quit my day job. I like my day job. It pays my bills, and it puts a lot less pressure on me to take every single gig. I don't feel like I have to hustle as much. But then, of course, like once I said that to myself and made that decision and kind of relaxed in where I am, I started getting a lot of bookings, which I'm very grateful for. But I'm also not really trying to push to like go on the road or level up in terms of number of gigs. I'm more selective with what I take, and my goals in comedy are different. I'm no longer trying to do it full time. I have never recorded an album in 17 years. So that's on my list of things I'd like to accomplish. I'd like to record a special. I think maybe record a special more than an album, just because I think it's a little bit more accessible right now to watch comedy, or at least like clip it up or put it on YouTube or something, rather than just recording an album. I could, release it as both, but I'd really like to do a special. And I've talked to a friend of mine who records specials about potentially doing one in the next year. So that's good. And this is so funny and kind of weird to admit. I've never had merch.
Oh, that's not weird to admit. No.
It's just like I've missed out on so much money I could have been making.
Yeah.
Especially when I was doing it a lot and I was on the road a lot. And people are like, you don't have merch? I just never did it. And so I'd like to have merch. I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess I got to find a joke that I feel like could be merch, and then I got to design something and have it made.
So when you do this special and it blows up and then everybody's calling your name and they want you to come to, South Dakota and Washington and, Dallas for a weekend, will you change your mind about doing comedy full time? Like, would you change your mind if the money you make from comedy outweighs the money you make from your day job?
It depends. Maybe, but my family is super important, and I know that road life is tough. If it's 18 years from now or 13 years from now when he's an adult, sure, why not?
Yeah.
But until he's out of the house, no, I want to be active in his life. Yeah. The first few years of his life, I was working at Upfront Stage, which was part of Shadowbox Live, and I was there 4 nights a week towards the end of the time that I was there, and I was hosting and producing and booking, and all of it was great. I feel like I helped a lot of people with their careers in comedy, but I wasn't doing as much for myself, because most of the time I was just doing announcements or I was doing a host set. I wasn't really working on my own set as much. And since I stepped away from that, I've had more time to spend with my family, and I've had more time to work on my own material. And now I'm really just doing comedy for me, which I love. And I know it's a luxury. Like, I know, because I don't really go to open mics very much, and I want to, because I kind of miss being part of the community. But I'm also, old and tired, and I don't want to go to a mic that starts at 9.
That's the thing, man. What is up with everybody starting their mic super duper late? Like, I'm 32. I gotta get up at 4. Like, I always be like, listen, let me go within the top 5. I'm not trying to, be a Grinch, but dude, I gotta get up in the morning, bro. Like,
for real.
These young 20-year-olds, they got jobs that start at 10 and 8 o'clock. I can't do that. I can't do that. No. That'd be really be making me feel bad, because I'd be wanting to stay and like converse with some people, not everybody, but like, and it'd be like, I want to, bruh, but I still gotta cook.
Yeah.
It's a grind, man. It's a grind.
Well, it's like the ones that like the attic starts, I think the workshop starts at 6 or something like that. So there's a few out there, but the crowd's different.
Yeah,
I don't have that same experience. I remember when I first started going out to the ones that ended at 2 o'clock in the morning, and that was fun, but it's not me anymore.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the Columbus scene? Like, we got a lot of new comics. We got comics that are gaining, attention nationally. So how do you feel about the scene? Like, where do you see it like 5 years from now? Because honestly, when we did the contest, I was like, dang, there really is some heat. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if every one of them take it serious and they want to do it full time, but we can at least say we got some heat. So how do you feel about the scene and the future of it?
It's very exciting. It's a very exciting time. It's like the comedy's back, because the scene's very different from what it was before the pandemic. And I know there was a scene during the pandemic, which was split a lot of people, but because there were still people going to mics and stuff, which is crazy to me. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm different in that way. I didn't want to get it, but I have a kid and I have older parents, so
I definitely
that's part of
understand.
why. If you're young and you don't care about getting COVID, I don't know. It was a weird time. So there was like a whole COVID scene, and then when things opened back up, it was kind of like open season because a lot of rooms didn't have a booker or they didn't have a regular show, and so people were going and starting new shows, and a lot of the rooms that I remembered going to either don't exist or they're just run by somebody different, or I mean, Tree Bar is gone, and
Yeah.
yeah, just a lot of the shows that, I mean, the room that I was running isn't really doing much anymore. So yeah, it's just different, but it's exciting. And I like meeting all the new people and seeing, yeah, kind of watching like, oh, these are the people that I think will make it, or
Yeah.
the people I think that will do well or will succeed or that are taking it seriously. And that's super exciting to me. So it's a very exciting time. I agree with the contest. It was packed full of, I mean, like I said, that the semifinal night that you were in was, every single person could have gone through.
Yeah.
That was so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I'm interested to see what happens in the next few years. We need a festival in Columbus. Columbus is
Yeah.
missing a festival. I was working on producing a festival when COVID hit. It was supposed to be our first year of the festival in 2020. And then we postponed it. And then 2021 didn't look good for it either. And then when we decided whether or not we were going to postpone or cancel it, same thing that I just talked about, like a lot of the venues didn't exist anymore. And so we thought, we don't even know where we would have this festival.
Right.
So I think now that things are getting back again and a lot of shows are more established, I think it'll happen soon. I don't know if I want to produce it, but
No,
it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I think if just from the outside looking in, I think if we just keep doing the open mics and let me write that down because I didn't mean to ask you about that. If we keep doing the open mics and the showcase, I think we could build that local fan base again and make them want to come out on a more consistent basis and support local comics. Because one of the things I hate doing the most about comedy is promoting myself. It's not that I don't think I'm funny or anything, but it's like I'm tired of saying, "Hey, come out Friday, 8:00, $10," because it's like they're not gonna come. But I feel like if we build that relationship, I think they'll come more, and yeah, we'll find that love. But I do see that I know every Funny Bone, that's our local club here. I know every Funny Bone kind of runs differently, kind of the same but differently. And I do see that you guys are kind of taking what Liberty Township is doing with having an open mic just in the little bar area. What are the plans with that? How do you get on that? And what's the outcome of it? Like, if you do good, do you get on the showcase? Like, because I know it's something new. So
it's brand new. So, this is something that the general manager of the club wanted to do. He is very interested in supporting local talent. It's hard sometimes to keep something consistent, I think, in the main room, because they, have to justify it fiscally in terms of staffing and, ticket sales and stuff. So sometimes that's hard. The contests usually do well because people want to bring so that they can win. But the showcase nights sometimes can be a tough sell. So I think this is something they're trying out to see, okay, if we do a free show and we limit our staff and we just make, money off of food and beverage or whatever, and see how that goes. So yeah, they're just kind of trying it out. He's trying out stuff because he wants to support the local community and give people opportunities, but he also has a business to run.
Right.
So this is a way to kind of try that out. I'll be interested to see what people think, if they like the stage, if they like the format, how it works. I'm going to go into it with, a positive attitude and open mind to like get people's feedback. Right now I'm just kind of helping out. I do think that I, would like to have a a role in helping run these things, because I also enjoy the local scene and supporting that. So and I think I'm good at it, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I've done this for a long time, so I do
Yeah.
have experience in running it. So that'll be good. I think the way they're kind of do this first one is if you do well, then you get a chance to come back and host the next one. And I think the
Okay.
hosts get paid a little bit of money. So so that's the incentive right there. But I mean, of course, anytime you're in the club, whether it's in the bar or in the main room or in the audience or anywhere, you're visible to the people that work there, the people that book. You never know when the big boss is in the room and when he might see you. It took me 17 years doing comedy to get. I'm only just now in the last, year and a half in rotation for hosting and featuring. And
Yeah.
I'm very, very grateful for that. But people are like, how did you do that? I'm like, I've been here 17 years. I don't know. How do you get these opportunities? It's right place, right time. And then it's being professional when you're there,
Yeah.
I show up on time. I make sure that I ask a lot of questions of what I'm supposed to do. The hosts, they give you like business that you got to do as far as like celebrations and promoting the website and upcoming shows. And I always make sure I check all those boxes. If they cancel a show on me, I say, no big deal. Call me when you've got another opportunity. Some people get mad.
Yeah.
And you can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
That's
tough, but it's
that's what I've been learning. Like I think I got the professionalism part down. I feel like people
for
want me
sure.
to talk more, but it's like, some of y'all a little weird. But like,
Yeah.
but I've been learning how to since we've been having a showcase in the club, which I was really wanting, because it's like I feel like, how do I say this nicely? I feel like you could tell who takes it seriously and who don't. Like I feel like if a comic is always just booking local shows at local venues and bars, I'm not saying that you're not taking it seriously, but at a time I was getting, when I didn't understand the game, I was getting jealous because I'm like, dang, everybody's getting booked and I'm not, and it's kind of frustrating. But then I looked at their bookings, I'm like, oh, all these are like bars and local venues. They're not even in comedy clubs. So they're not even, and I felt like, well, if you want to be a comic, one of the places you go is a comedy club, and they're not
Right.
in there. So it's like, okay, scratch them off the list. They're not really taking this, seriously. So I stopped getting jealous about that. But what I've learned in being in comedy clubs, since you guys are opening it up, is to like what jokes to tell, how to
Yeah.
rearrange, how to arrange the jokes, and because I come for the neck right off the bat, what I'm saying? So it's like maybe you should say that towards the end or the middle, so I'm very grateful for that, because I learned that part of it. But yeah, that's why I'm just so happy that no matter what, that is open, just because I was like, I need that club experience if this is what I want to do full time. So thank you for being a part of that. But as we start to wrap things up here, who is on your Mount Rushmore for comedy?
Oh my gosh, that's such a hard question. Okay, on the Mount Rushmore for me, like when I think of like the greatest,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna. Oh, and he's gone.
I felt like my TV was too loud. I just noticed it
Oh,
now.
I didn't even hear it.
Okay, cool.
Uh, this is gonna be bad because I can't think of a woman to put up there, and I should as a woman.
I'll be struggling with that too, man. But
It's hard.
I hate saying that. I hate saying the average, like Wanda Sykes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel
Right.
like there's so much more out there. But yeah. I
And for
feel you.
me, it used to, and maybe it still is, Ellen DeGeneres. If I'm going to put a woman up there, I know she has had a lot of heat lately for not being a nice person. I don't know.
And I'm like, who is scared to stand up to Ellen DeGeneres? Because I would be like, who the fuck you talking to? Like,
but when I think of like, at least for my generation, like her set her very first set on the Tonight Show and getting invited to sit down and talk to Carson, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And everything she's done since then. So if I'm gonna put a woman up there, I'll put Ellen up there. Richard Pryor, for sure. He, to me, might be like the greatest of all time. George Carlin. It's so hard to pick just 4. And I know he's also getting a lot of heat, but I'm still gonna put Dave up there. Dave Chappelle.
Okay.
Bing bong.
All right, that's a good list. That's a good list.
Yeah. When I think of like Pryor and Carlin, it's like Dave Chappelle is like he's like the current, I think, of that same caliber. So,
yeah, there's a lot of parallels there.
Yeah.
Although
I worry that he goes the route of Lenny Bruce, because like Lenny Bruce obviously was a legend and he could easily be on that route, Mount Rushmore too, but he got so consumed in being censored, which is what they used to call being canceled.
Mm-hmm.
He got so consumed with being censored that he wrote about that and it was funny, but then he just kept spiraling to where it wasn't comedy anymore.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I worry a little bit that sometimes what Dave's doing isn't necessarily comedy anymore.
Yeah.
But he's, I don't know, he's still the GOAT.
Yeah. It's just America in a weird time. Like, try to like not say what you want to say. Clearly, there were some words that maybe we shouldn't have said. That okay, we got the mental awareness to be like, all right, we're not gonna say that anymore. But I feel like as any comic, you can go up there and say whatever you want to say. I just feel like there's a way to say it, and like, what's the point of you saying it? And that's one thing. And that's one thing I've been learning. With doing these open mics and getting in these clubs is like, okay, are we just saying this to shock people, or like, what's the point? Like, and just stick to the point and drive the point home. Like I find that you get a better reaction to that. And my counselor told me earlier, like, if you're gonna go up there, like, have a point, but like just hitting the mics, I've been learning that more and more. So I try to keep that in mind. Like, okay, like, yeah, there's maybe like that's what, and like hearing other, because I really don't hear other people's sets. I always have my AirPods in, but like when I take them out and I hear other people's sets, I'd be like, yeah, that's funny, but like, what's the point of you saying it? Like, just because somebody got shot, just because a school got shot up in Pittsburgh, like, what's the point of you saying it? Like, it's like, yeah, I just try to figure out like what's the point. So that's been helping me out a lot. But
no, I think there's comedy that can say something and still be funny.
Yeah.
But I think there's also something to be said for one of my personal favorites. And I guess if we're putting in the Mount Rushmore our favorites, my personal favorite is Jim Gaffigan. And he's clean and he'll talk for 10 minutes about horses or shoes or socks. But it's an escape. When I listen to him, I don't think about all the problems in the world because I'm laughing about socks.
Yeah.
And I think there's still validity in that, even if it's not. So I hear what you say. It's like, yeah, you got to be saying something. So you either got to be saying something or you got to be saying absolutely nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But either way, it's got to be funny.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to that point where, because when I went to LA for the first time, I heard this comic made a joke about dandruff, and I'm like, what the like? How did you like what? Like, so ever since then, I'm like, man, let me just find something that is just like oddly weird and just make a joke about it. And yeah, I try to stay on that. But lately I've been trying to just talk about personal stuff, and that's been working. But I do try to keep like, making jokes about like little knick-knack stuff. All right. Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the guy who won the contest, Tony Bowers, he did an entire set on his kids' t-ball team.
Yeah.
And the other thing and I guess that's the only other thing I can say about like when people say, well, how did you get these opportunities? When I first started, my comedy was really dirty. I used a lot of cuss words. I talked about sex a lot. And there's, again, nothing wrong with that. But when you're first starting, it's harder for clubs to book you. And sometimes you can get trapped in being a host or being a feature and not necessarily moving up to headliner if you're catering to what they want. So there is that avenue of it too. Like, I don't know how quickly I would move up to being a headliner, but I'm getting good work as a host in a feature because my comedy is much cleaner now.
Yeah.
And the clubs sometimes will get requests for a clean opener, and their list of clean comics in Columbus is pretty short.
Yeah.
So I like that I get to be on that short list. Yeah.
Man, I try to be. I pride myself in being clean, but then when I went to when I went to dating, it seemed like everybody had a sex joke, and I'm like, dang dog, like, so should I go back to that? Because all them places and I didn't. Like, I'm just like. And the judges, I felt like all the judges was kind of like old too, so it's like, well, dang, all right, cool. Then I just bring the pubic hair joke back out, I guess.
I try to mix it up based on where I am. I mean, I've still got dirty jokes, don't get me wrong. And sometimes my clean jokes, if it's a dirtier night, I just throw in a few cuss words, but I can do them clean, which I think helps me be more bookable.
What are like anybody that's listening to this right now, young comic or veteran in the game, what's some words of encouragement you can give them?
Be kind. You never know who's going to give you an opportunity. And yeah, just be kind. Be nice to the venues where you're doing open mics. You know, don't go up and roast the host, as they say. Don't make fun of the venue, or just be nice to everybody. I think I try hard to just be kind to everybody. It's not always easy, especially if people are mean to me.
Right.
Or if I see people acting up, I'm like, what are you doing? But I try my best to just go in with kindness, tell people good set. Yeah, you can go a long way with just being nice.
Nickey, tell people why they should listen to Comedians in Bed.
Because the host is the best. You should listen to Comedians in Bed because Ty asks great questions, brings on great hosts. I mean, I bring on great guests as I fumble through my words. Yeah, I don't know. This has been good conversation. Who doesn't like listening to good conversation between two funny people?
I love asking that question because people struggle so much how to answer it. Nickey, tell people where they can find you at.
You can find me on Instagram and on TikTok at Nickey Wink. Oh, I haven't done anything with my TikTok lately. I got to do something with it. And I'll have a website live soon, which is nickeywink.com. And you can find me occasionally at the Columbus Funny Bone. Sometimes I'm on the Don't Tell comedy shows. And yeah.
That's your merch right there. Nickey Wink with a winky eye. Boom. That's it right there.
Nickey Wink.
Yeah, that's it right there. Put it on a hat or something. I was thinking about putting something on a hat. I forgot the idea, but I do got a phrase that I say. I don't know if everybody else say it. I say for why a lot. So I was thinking about just making that my merch for why.
That. Yeah, I think it's like tying it into a joke, but it has to be something that people want to wear.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I love what Kenny Mock has. He's got that joke about his shirt, and then he sells little air fresheners shaped like the shirt. And I feel like merch is tough because like t-shirts are hard because people always want a specific size. Hats are great, especially the adjustable ones, you know?
Yeah, that is true. If you want to watch next week's episode, man, go ahead, subscribe to my YouTube channel at TYE Comedy. We go live every Tuesday at 11 a.m., 8 a.m. Pacific time. For all the people on the West Coast that are watching this, man, we want to thank Nickey for being on this show. Please make sure you hit up all her socials, give her a follow. And if you're in Columbus, or, you know, if you live in Columbus and you want to get away for the weekend, I'm pretty sure if you go to the Funny Bone, Nickey will be there. So we're so excited to have her on today. Nickey, thanks for popping on with us today, man. We greatly appreciate it. Taking a break from being a mom, I greatly appreciate that so much. Also, be sure to follow us on IG as well as Comedians in Bed podcast. Still trying to build that up. But other than that, man, we'll see you guys next week. Toodles.